Hello and welcome to the House Design Story. Today, I want to take you into the shoes of someone who is about to build their very first home. Imagine yourself standing there on an empty piece of land. Maybe with excitement, maybe with fear, and definitely with a head full of questions.
Where do you even begin? You've never done this before? You have no experience? And the world of architecture seems full of complicated choices. Modern or traditional, one floor or two, open space or closed rooms, big windows or small. It feels overwhelming. But this is exactly the journey we are going to explore today. How to choose the kind of home that truly fits you, even when you are starting with nothing but a dream. When most people first think about building a house, they picture something vague, something half-formed in their imagination. Maybe it's a memory of their childhood home, or a photo they once saw online, or the house of a friend they admired. For Sarah and Michael, the couple in our story, it was all of those things mixed together. They had saved for years to buy a small piece of land. When they finally stood on it for the first time, the excitement was mixed with anxiety. "What kind of house should we build here?" Michael asked. Sarah laughed nervously. "I don't know. I only know I want it to feel like ours." At that moment, they had no clear design, no drawings, not even a budget breakdown, just a dream and a piece of land. That is how many people begin. And it is perfectly okay. Because choosing the right design is not about starting with all the answers. It is about asking the right questions. The first question they asked themselves was the simplest. How do we live our lives each day? Do we spend more time in the kitchen or in the living room? Do we want to host guests often, or do we prefer quiet evenings together? Do we want bedrooms that are private and closed off, or do we prefer open connections between spaces? By sitting down with a pen and writing out what a normal day looked like, they began to understand their real needs. Sarah loved cooking, and she imagined herself in a kitchen that was not hidden away, but open, where she could still talk to Michael or watch their children play while she worked. Michael, on the other hand, valued quiet corners for reading, and he dreamed of a small study filled with books. These little preferences slowly shaped the skeleton of their future home. It wasn't yet a style or a clear plan, but it was a direction, and came the second question. How much space do we really need? Many first-time builders make the mistake of thinking bigger is always better. But Sarah and Michael soon realized that every extra square meter added to their design would also add to their cost. Not just during construction, but forever after, in cleaning, in heating, in maintenance. Instead of imagining a huge house, they focused on functional space. Enough for comfort, but not waste. 2 bedrooms, 1 study, an open living area, and a kitchen that flowed into the dining space. It wasn't a palace, but it was exactly enough. Next came the question of style. This was the part that made them feel most lost. Should they choose modern minimalism, with flat roofs and sharp lines, traditional pitched-roof home that echoed the houses of their parents, a tropical design with wide eaves and breezy verandas? Online, every picture looked beautiful, and every style had its own appeal. At first, they felt paralyzed by choice. But their architect guided them gently. "Don't start with pictures," he said. "Start with feelings. How do you want your house to make you feel?" It was a powerful question. Sarah said she wanted warmth, the sense of coming home and being hugged by the space. Michael said he wanted calm, a place where he could breathe deeply and think clearly. From these emotions, a design direction emerged. A home that combined natural materials, soft light, and open spaces. Something between modern and warm, neither too cold nor too heavy. Of course, money was always in the background. Their budget wasn't unlimited, and like many first-time builders, they were afraid of overspending. The key lesson they learned was this: always spend on the things you cannot change later. Strong foundation, solid walls, good plumbing, and wiring, these are investments for decades. But finishes, furniture, even some design details can be added or upgraded later, when money allows. This principle helped them choose wisely when they felt overwhelmed. As their journey continued, they began to explore real layouts. They visited friends' houses, noticing what they liked and disliked. In one house, the living room was large, but felt cold because of poor lighting. In another, the kitchen was small, but cleverly connected to the dining area, making it the heart of the home. Every visit gave them ideas, not to copy, but to reflect on what suited them. Slowly, their design took shape. A single-story house, simple in form, but thoughtful in flow. The living room opened directly into the dining and kitchen space, creating one large area for family life. 2 bedrooms sat on one side, connected by a hallway, while the study stood near the garden, with a wide window for light. The bathrooms were compact but smart, designed to save space without feeling cramped. Large windows invited daylight, and the roof extended outward to provide shade, protecting the house from the summer sun. When construction finally began, Sarah and Michael were nervous, but their choices felt grounded. They had not just chosen a style from a magazine, they had chosen a home shaped by their lives, their habits, their dreams. Each brick, each wall, carried the story of their decisions. The first time they stepped into the nearly finished house, Sarah stood in the kitchen, sunlight pouring through the window, and whispered, "This is exactly how I imagined it." Michael walked into the study, sat at the empty desk, and felt the peace he had longed for. The house was not perfect, no house ever is, but it was theirs, built on choices that reflected who they were. And so, what does their story tell us? That when you are building your first home, the most important step is not choosing from catalogs or copying pictures online. It is looking inward, asking yourself how you live, what you value, and how you want to feel. A house is not just walls and a roof. It is the stage where your life unfolds. So if you are standing at the beginning of this journey with no experience and no idea where to start, remember Sarah and Michael. Begin with your daily life. Imagine your mornings, your evenings, your weekends. Write down what matters most. Light, space, privacy, connection. From these seeds, the design of your home will grow naturally. Style will follow function, and beauty will emerge from honesty. By the time the keys are in your hand and you step into your first home, you will know that the choices were yours, not borrowed, not copied, but born from who you are. And that is what makes a house truly a home. Thank you for joining me in this long journey on the house design story. I hope that by walking through the fears, questions, and discoveries of a first-time builder, you have found guidance for your own dream. Remember, the perfect house is not the one that looks best in a photo. It is the one that feels right when you walk through the door. Until next time, may your story lead you to a home that is truly yours.